Okay, we are being recorded. Here we are, 11th of April. It is yet another Monday night. Lots of things happening in the world. And tonight, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We've got some issues with trying to explain to people what our direction is, what's our core direction. So tonight, I hope we'll explain to you how that all comes together. So let's just have a look and see what happens. Great for you to give us feedback. When I finish that slide, I'll let you know. Here's our tagline: everyone goes forward together. We mean it, don't forget it. So welcome everybody to another Gold Monday. Remember, we are giving you our opinion only. We are not representing any of the companies or speaking for them publicly, and we do not give financial advice. The reason we don't give financial advice is that gold, silver, and crypto are not financial instruments. So we're very keen to express what we've discovered, show you what we found out, show you how we've made it all work, and you should do some research and decide what you want to do. Normally, the way it all works. Okay, so here is a little video that you need to think about, because this is at the core of what we're talking about tonight.
Monetary sanity, convertibility, had been restored in Europe in 1959, and almost immediately thereafter, the United States began running enormous balance of payments deficits year in and year out. Bretton Woods established an arrangement whereby, supposedly from 1945 and the end of the war onward, all currencies were convertible to the dollar and the dollar to gold. At that time, gold reserves were the final mechanism for settling balance of payments deficits. But Bretton Woods forestalled this process by permitting the sole reserve currency, the main reserve currency, to be considered as official reserves for foreign central banks, such that they could settle all their deficits in dollars as opposed to gold. That's the fundamental difference between the classical gold standard and what is called the gold exchange standard, which Bretton Woods enshrined in law and in treaty. When we were spending more money abroad than we were taking in, all the foreign countries, especially in Europe and in Japan, absorbed these dollars, pouring into their economies, and they held them in their reserves. They immediately take those dollars and reinvest them in the New York money market. Thus, the Americans, I should say the American government, were able to buy abroad and buy at home at the same time. And gradually, this vast foreign exchange component built up as a claim against gold. And in 1971, both Britain and several other countries decided to encash their huge accumulations of dollar reserves under the Bretton Woods system for gold. And of course, President Nixon, in his own way, decided to trump them.
George says as long as we do not have convertibility, he says the Europeans can't do all that much to us.
They can't.
Because he says when we had convertibility, then they had a right to lecture us about what we ought to do. But with convertibility, without convertibility, that is not the case.
These countries had the right to claim gold to redeem their dollar reserves. It would put the United States in a position of insolvency.
We just shouldn't get all that excited about the fact that they worry about our budget. Is that your view?
That's exactly right. They can't do one cockeyed thing, and they'll say, oh, well, we've got to maintain our relations. We've asked them to hold dollars. And I said, no, we didn't ask them to hold dollars. They've held dollars. It's been in their interest to hold dollars.
That's right.
And I said, hell with them. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about us.
That's right.
1960s was filled with financial crises that involved the dollar, but the total collapse came in 1971. He issued an executive order on August 15th, 1971, and said, I'm sorry, we're not paying our debts. We're certainly not paying our debts in gold.
Isn't that an interesting view of history? They just decided that they would cancel the redeemability of the US dollar. And it's because, as that gentleman described, they were paying for trade deficits in US dollars, and then those countries and those companies that owned those trade dollars, the US dollars, would bring it back to the US and invest in the US money market. That would then allow that same money to be spent again. Now, it always amazes me when you look at something like this, that blind Freddie can see that that's going to end badly. It just cannot be sustained. But there will be, at the end of the day, a process where you have to eventually balance the books. You can't just continue to allow the money to be created with zeros like banks do when they give you a credit card or they give you a loan or something like that. At some point, all those numbers have to be tallied up and reconciled. Now, the at some point has been coming for a long time, and everyone's known it. Does that mean I know when that's all going to grind to a screaming halt? Nope, I don't. I'm not privy to that inside information. And you're right, Martin, the ultimate Ponzi scheme. They were creating money at a national level by holding gold that everybody thought they could redeem their dollars for. And then all of a sudden, it was cancelled. They just decided we're not doing that anymore. Now, if you look at the public statement that Nixon made about the cancelling of the gold standard, he says nothing about the international aspect of what that did. All he's talking about are these supposed gold traders who were making money out of it. The gold traders or the gold hoarders or the gold holders that were making money out of it was the US government. And they were making an inordinate amount of money, as was later found out. So there's a whole lot of information built up around why they did that, why they had the gold standard cancelled, and why everything happened as it did. But you know what? It happened. And they've managed to keep the ball in the air for a very long time because they had created an environment where the US dollar was the payment option as soon as you were doing international trade. So if you bought oil, you had to have US dollars. If you sold oil, you sold it in US dollars. That was exactly the agreement with the Saudis, et cetera, and it just went on for decades. Well, now it appears that that reign of currency control is coming to an end. I'm not about to tell you I know what the outcome's going to be, but I can pretty much tell you it'll be a lot different to what our government overseers think it's going to be. There is no real reason why anyone would stick to the old platform. There's no reason why you would continue to follow down that road at this point. You've already got the Saudis accepting transactions for oil in different currencies. The Russians are now doing it. The Chinese are doing it. So where does that leave us? Well, let's just carry on. We'll talk about that. So let's clarify the roadmap so you understand very clearly what it is that we're doing. Bullion here in Bris Vegas, real physical metal. You can put that in a vault, you can take it home, you can do whatever you like to it. It's real physical metal. You can convert that into cash without having to pick it up and drive it all around the country looking for a price. The vault will buy it back from us. But soon, you're going to be able to put that into a digital platform where the metal behind the token is stored in Singapore, 2 separate systems. You can then store that token on your phone in this app. You can convert it right there in the app to cash, and you can spend it. Or you can convert it to cash, leave it in the app, and spend it from there. It's just a unique system. So let's clarify the separate entities. Metal, stored in a vault, convertible into all sorts of cash. And it will be based on the spot price, etc., as everything is. However, there is a minor problem. That process only works in Australia, because some time back, we tried to register a group of people in England who wanted to buy the metal and have it shipped to England. That was when we discovered why nobody else had done that, because the freight on a gram of bullion from Brisbane to London is about 5,000 US dollars. The second that you put bullion on your documentation, there is a fixed charge, irregardless of how much it is. So that system only works in Australia because freight is the problem. We can't expand that around the world. We can't even expand it to New Zealand across the ditch. We can only do that in Australia. Now, there are a couple of ways around it, but on a dark night and from 30 or 40 yards away, those ways could be relatively easily confused with the smuggling of the old days where you row in with a boat on a dark night. It's just too hard to deal with the freight issue. So we've come up with the solution, and that's global. So a digital token where the asset behind the token is stored in Singapore, and it allows you to convert it on the app directly into cash so you can spend it. Great outcome, don't you think? Much lower fees, much easier convertibility, a process that will allow us to expand globally. So, how does this all come together? Okay, thought long and hard about how to explain this and how to put this slide together that's coming up. But right now, from us, from our perspective as a consumer, you'll have a wallet on your phone and a web interface to pay bills. You can use that wallet to shop at any number of merchants, and you can use it in the Sophia Zeniq system. It's digital money. And the gold and silver tokens we're introducing are digital gold and digital silver. And you'll understand why very soon. So what about the gold standard? Well, with the decentralized wallet, you have your own personal gold standard. This is based on a decentralized blockchain. So you won't wake up one morning and turn on the TV and find out that someone's turned your blockchain off, because it's decentralized. There is no unplug. There is no off button. It will still be there. So how exactly are we doing that? Okay. Here's our business that we're involved in right now, AU4U, gold for you. And you can see there's some silver color in there as well because we do gold and silver. And over here on another page, you've got the Zeniq blockchain. It's a pretty interesting process that those two entities have bumped into each other. AU4U has Gold Rocks as its people manager organization. Zeniq and Sapphire are the ones that manage the people for that blockchain. It's really an interesting mirrored image. So Zeniq owns the technology and Sapphire uses all of their skill sets to manage the people, as Gold Rocks does for AU4U. So off the Gold Rocks platform, we've got Australian physical metal. Always going to be stored here. You can leave your metal in that vault or you can pick it up and take it home. It's always going to be physical metal unless you want to change it into something else. You have control of that. In Singapore, we have metal for the tokens. Now, why Singapore? That is a really good question. I'm glad you asked it. Singapore has a large custodial vault. Now, that means there's a vault in the free zone at the airport whereby you can pay to have your metal stored, insured, and audited. And that system has been operating there for a very long time. So they have a great reputation worldwide, and that's the group that we've chosen to hold the metal for the digital tokens. Now, why wouldn't we do that out of Australia, do you think? Well, the first thing is the cost of storing the metal. And the second thing is I'm not sure that there's one big enough here unless we go to Perth Mint, and that's not going to happen. We don't want to get involved in that. We want to keep everything at a level that we can manage. So over here off the Zeniq blockchain, you've now got Avinoc, a token that some of us already own, some of us have some, and it has already started staking. So people are earning money with it. I haven't done any staking yet because Avinoc is still on the ERC20 platform, the Ethereum platform, and you need to pay a bunch of money to put it into the staking, which kind of negates the staking benefit at the moment. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks and months. We'll keep an eye on it so that as soon as it's cheap and simple to move, we'll go down that road. Tupan, the next token, they've already worked out how to get it on the blockchain. Tupan is one of those weird ones where I was thinking about it when I first heard about it and wondered, why would someone want to do that? Why would someone buy a Tupan token? And then I thought, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to have a bunch of tokens on my phone so that I can say to people, I own a piece of the Amazon jungle. Small piece, nonetheless, but a piece anyway. So Tupan has come along and decided that they need 3.68, I think, billion tokens. It's a lot. So that's going to be a very large business that will be built into the platform that we're using. Now, the reason all of these coins and tokens are beneficial to us is they all consume either Zeniq coins or pieces of the Zeniq blockchain because they've built a token. And that's why it's beneficial for us to think about it and talk about it. We also have the Zeniq coins. Most of us on this call would have some Zeniq coins. We have plenty of opportunities to purchase more of them. We'll talk about that in a minute, or earn more of them or get more of them. The Zeniq coin is the native coin of the Zeniq blockchain. And in the last 4-6 weeks, whatever the number is, it's not long, the coin has gone up about 240%. So it has been a success story in and of itself. There are 400 other projects coming onto this blockchain. Now, this number was, I believe it's a lot higher now, but that number was given to me before we started talking to them about doing what we're going to do. So now, what links these two platforms together? AG4U silver tokens and AU4U gold tokens. Those two tokens will run on the Zeniq blockchain, thus linking those two platforms forever. And revenue will come from the turnover of those tokens. And that's what we're about. We built this business for our members, and let's all hope we all make a truckload of money out of this along the way. Okay, that is a thumbnail dipped in tar sketch of what our business has in common with the Zeniq platform. And it's a great outcome for us because all the other cryptocurrencies that I've ever looked at, they were a coin that was launched on the open market before there was a use for them. But we now have a roadmap with a partner that makes it absolutely certain that we have a strong, viable platform that we can run our tokens through. Now, we're not hamstrung by being on the Zeniq platform. It's an exciting blockchain. If we had to, we could do those tokens on another platform, on another blockchain. We could use an ERC20 contract, do it on the Ethereum blockchain. Lots of different options we could choose. But this blockchain is the fastest in the world. It's decentralized. Can't be turned off. And it works in conjunction with what we are doing and what our outcomes are about. So I hope that that's explained a little bit better how this all comes together. If you've got any comments you'd like to make, thanks, Martin. Thanks, Cass. Yeah, I went to a lot of trouble to get colours in there, Cassie. It's just an easy way for us to bring this forward if we reuse the Zeniq blockchain. It's a great outcome. I spoke to Boris again yesterday. We're working as hard as we can to bring this forward. We're waiting for some more feedback on the regulations around the tokens. And when I say the regulations around the tokens, I mean what government entity will oversee the legalities of who issues those tokens. We're not about to go to market without having everything ticked off and finalised. We are going to go to the market with a rock solid platform. And that's what we're about, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions about that, you can put your hand up or make a comment now. Stephen.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. A couple of thoughts. So, first of all, would we be able to fulfill our $100 a month requirement by buying $100 worth of AU4U and or AG4U tokens?
We're working on that right now.
Okay.
That's a question that we've was raised early. We don't have a yes, no answer for it yet, but that is something that we're looking at because it's easier for people like yourself who aren't here in Australia that you can then hold that metal and spend it or transfer it wherever you want to do it.
Exactly.
So yes, we are working on that.
Terrific, thank you. And sort of a correlated question: if I've got a bunch of gold sitting in Bris Vegas and wanted to sort of collateralize that into tokens, can I do that? You're saying that the two systems are separate. So I'm sort of trying to get my head around how they're linked in a way that I can use. You see what I'm asking? It's a pretty vague sort of question. I'm sorry.
There will be a process to convert your physical metal into tokens if you want to.
Right. Okay.
So anybody that's storing,
I guess that was what I was asking.
Yeah. So anyone that's storing metal now, like as Cassie said, the 1 BV a month is only to empower you an additional income stream in the AU4U system. So if you're storing metal now, you will have a process to convert that into tokens if you choose to. You don't have to.
Sure. Right. The you mentioned that the vault will buy back our gold or silver, presumably with the margin difference. Yeah.
Correct.
How stable is that margin difference? Is it predictable or known in advance?
Yeah, it's known in advance, but wherever you take metal to sell it to a bullion dealer, everything is calculated off the spot price. So when you buy metal from them, you get spot plus. When you take it back to sell it to them, it's spot minus.
Yeah,
so
is it a percentage?
But that's also what we're defeating with the tokens, because you won't need to do that.
Right.
There'll be no margin.
If I did convert one way or the other, is that percentage fixed? Presumably not, because it's market driven, yeah?
Yeah, it's based off the spot price. And I don't know whether they have a fixed percentage. I'm going to talk about the premiums in the US in a couple of slides.
Okay. All right. I'll shut up.
Okay.
Thanks, Derek. That's good.
Thanks. Okay. Let's move right along. How do you keep up with everything that's going on here? This is the link to the Telegram channel that you can subscribe to. This link will be in the description on the YouTube channel. So you can just click on it and it will give you the opportunity to register in that channel. Now, be aware, there are a bunch of scammers running around the world right now going through Telegram because it's home of Scam Central. And what they do is they contact you privately because you're in that group, and they'll say, I'm desperate to buy a Zeniq hub. Can you help me register? So you send them the link. They then say, I've moved almost enough cryptocurrency into the wallet to buy the hub. And then they say, oh, I'm short 30 or 40 euros. Can you lend it to me? Because you'll get it back from the commission and we'll be all good. And then as soon as if you were to send it to them, you would not ever hear from them again. So just be careful. If someone says I'm a bit short, unless you know them, don't help them out. I know it's a hard thing to say, but you need to know who you're sending money to. Okay. Is it spendable? Yes, it is. It's a digital, decentralized wallet, and it's all based on the coins and the blockchain. What about metal pricing? Premiums. Wow. Look at that. Premium as low as $11.30 per coin over the spot price. As low as $11.30 per coin. You can see they've got a flash sale going on, so they've knocked $3 a coin off. So that's over $14 a coin it ordinarily is. They're just running a Silver Eagle sale. And yeah, we saw this about a year ago where the premiums just spiked, something outrageous. We haven't seen that here in Australia yet. It may actually occur. In fact, I'll be kind of surprised if it doesn't, but it is what it is. It's the way that they manipulate the metal market in an effort to counter what happens at the stock market, where the banks all agree that this is the spot price today. And so to keep it under control, they sell futures to make sure that that price stays in their ballpark. But it's not real. The spot price you see advertised, Sydney Stock Exchange, etc., it's not a real price for gold or silver. It's a ridiculous way that they manipulate it. So keep a sharp eye out. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the price that we see in the market. It's going to be a fair bit uglier if the war in the Ukraine continues on. Speaking of that, we hope that that war does come to an end soon. Every one of those big cruise missiles that get flung around over there has about 15 kilos of silver in the nose of it and a bit of gold. So every time one of them explodes, that gets vaporized. So we're already in about a 74-ton deficit this year for silver. That was before they started throwing cruise missiles around. So you can expect that silver is going to be very hard to buy in the coming months. I'm not saying that the price is going to go through the roof. I'm saying it's going to be very hard to buy. If I was to supply the Australian equivalent of that coin that I just showed you, the delivery date from our suppliers is somewhere around the end of this month or sometime in May. Sometime in May. But we have a process in place with our suppliers that we can guarantee the price. Now, inflation. I know some of you have questioned my maths on inflation. Well, here's an interesting way to look at it. What about fuel? Fuel excise has been slashed by 50% to ease petrol prices, only for 6 months. Only for 6 months. So fuel excise currently adds 44 cents to a litre of petrol, but it'll be halved. So now it's down to 22 cents per litre from midnight, Tuesday, the 29th of March. And yes, they have done that. That's why our fuel dropped down substantially, and like overnight, it seemed to lose 20 odd cents per litre. That's why they've cut the fuel excise in half. That's not including the GST, which is also on fuel. So if you add the GST to that 44 cents, our government's taking about a 40% clip of the price that you pay at the pump. 40%. Do you think we get our value as consumers? I'm pretty sure we don't. I'd like to know where that money goes and what happens to it. I'd like to know where the money goes from the tolls. The amount of tolls that you pay driving around Brisbane, it's outrageous. Melbourne has a great system where you pay a maximum, I believe, of $10 a day. Christopher McCabe, is that correct? Can you type in the little chat window there? I think the tolls in Melbourne are capped on a daily rate. They're not in Australia. It's easy to spend $50 on tolls in Australia on one trip. Easy. I've done it. Yep, that's right. Thanks, Chris. He thinks it's still the same. We just were never lucky enough to get looked after like that. No, we get asked to line up and just keep emptying our pockets. I'd also like to know where the money goes from our registrations. That's all supposed to go into roads and infrastructure. So we've got 40% of the price of a litre of petrol, all of our registration costs, and the tolls. I really would like to see an accounting of where that money goes, because I guarantee you it's not going into roads. Okay, what now? Well, to prevent some sort of disaster, you need a way to privately hold assets and have spendable assets. Know how to protect them. That's what we've been talking about this Zeniq hub for, because it is a proprietary device and you have an offline wallet in that device. Have a way to create a side income. We've got staking. We've got all sorts of ways you can create income in our ecosystem. And some of the news about the international news contingents in the Ukraine surviving by using cryptocurrency has been very interesting to read and listen to people talk about it. They're talking about their workmates being hooked into a system where they can pay for things with cryptocurrency. They could get paid in cryptocurrency, and yet here we are in a war zone. Can't use a credit card. You can't get cash in there to someone. How are you going to do that? It's almost a way to stop people from surviving, wouldn't you think? I've just taken a wild guess at that. So just think about, what are you going to do if we get to the point where we are in a world of hurt like they are in the Ukraine or Sri Lanka or somewhere like that? Remember, digitalisation is what is coming, and everything is going digital. I mean everything. You will need a phone or a handheld device to do anything in the coming months and years. It's just out there. It's got out of the box. There were many discussions at government level trying to ban Bitcoin when it came out. None of them succeeded. None of them. And now there are thousands of cryptocurrencies. The Zeniq blockchain, why? Because there's no monkey's armpit in the middle. It is free of monkey's armpits. They can't pull the plug. They can't turn it off on us. They can't run away with it. There are enough of us that have bought full masternodes and hubs. They are doing it in a way that we will have a measure of control, even if our internet gets cut off from the rest of the world. In that case, we would have an intranet, not an internet. An intranet is something that operates within a specific geographic or physical location. What now? Well, we are in the right place to benefit from this mess. It's free to add a wallet. You can start minting coins at 100 euros. Stay focused on the package, gold, silver, crypto. Not just any crypto. Stay focused on the ones that you know are going to be stable. Here's an interesting statistic that I read the other day. The use of stable coins, which is what we're building, has increased from the numbers in 2020 have gone up 2,040% since this month in 2020. 2,000%. And it's not slowing down, it's actually accelerating. What if you want more coins? They are available for purchase on LaToken, or you can purchase hubs or parts of hubs. They'll mint free coins for you. They can be sold or saved depending on what you want. However, if you go to purchase them on LaToken, that's the website, latoken.com, or ask your upline leader for a referral link. Now, if you use someone else's referral link, you get a $50 bonus. Here's the problem. I used someone else's link and I got the $49.95 or whatever it was in my wallet. And I've done a number of transactions and I've yet to work out how that $49 gives me any benefit whatsoever. So there is a referral system with it. It's just designed to get us to promote the LaToken platform. But it's a complicated, not easy to drive platform. So I will try, I've tried a few times, to record a process for you to buy coins on that website. But you need to understand it is illegal for me to help you buy cryptocurrency. It is illegal for your best mate who you've known 40 years to help you buy cryptocurrency. So yes, I can give you some guidance. We can steer you in the right direction and try and suggest ways to do it. But we need to be very careful now. We've come to the attention of a few government entities like the anti-money laundering crew. Now, we haven't done anything wrong, so we're travelling along all right. But please be aware, the LaToken process is quite difficult to do. But we're coming up with potentially another process that will work for that. So you need cryptocurrency to make it work on LaToken. You can use a credit card to buy crypto, but the fees are outrageous. And I mean outrageous. Okay, use Litecoin if you're going to buy there. Litecoin tends to have the cheapest fee structure and it works quite quickly. Why are we here? We're a group of like-minded people focused on survival. The world is changing and we should pay close attention. So have a look at my little collection of videos for you to watch this week. Gold. Now they've done it. Why 5-digit gold, that's $10,000 per ounce, is inevitable. Mike Maloney, a great little video to listen to. Oh, this guy, the next step. This is from a former chairman of the US Federal Reserve, and he's saying that the Fed will force stock markets to crash because it's the only way they can manage what's happening over there. And here he is again, the US dollar death blow. They're talking about the fact that Russia and China are now trading coal, oil, etc. in their own currencies, and the Saudis are now selling oil in Chinese yuan. So the ability of the US to control what countries do internationally is being severely impacted. What's the outcome long term? I actually don't know, but I know it's going to upset a lot of apple carts, and it will be interesting if, let's say, for example, a US Navy frigate, because they're not nuclear powered, pulls into Singapore and says, fill her up. And they say, yep, we're happy to do that. We got the bunker oil for you to do it, but you need to pay for it in cash in, let's say, Chinese yuan. How do you think that's going to work? It ain't. There will be a lot of issues around that. Civil unrest, it's just starting to bubble up again. around the world because this guy's talking about the price of food is going to continue to go up. And he's not talking about inflation. He's talking about a serious increase in the price of food. And yep, there's a lot of protests in Sri Lanka. They are in a heap of trouble over there politically and financially. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but it's really ugly. But one of the issues is food shortages. And here we are, our main man, Florian Heiser. He's saying that even the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, is warning us that there is much higher inflation coming. The cash rate, someone asked me before, what's the cash rate in Australia? I believe it's 0.1%, the Reserve Bank rate. But everybody's still paying 17% on their credit cards. Isn't that amazing? Okay. Watch this space. It's really, really going to be interesting in the next 6 or 8 months. I think between now and Christmas, we're going to see a massive amount of changes in the world. And we need to understand that the bottom line is everything we ever knew as normal has gone, and it is extremely unlikely to come back as it was before. Extremely unlikely. Everything we've ever talked about is coming true. You don't need to be a salesperson. You can do this on your own. We've got numerous people on this call that have set themselves up so that they're minting coins and saving some metal. And they don't need to be a salesperson. They don't need to recruit people. You get paid if you do, but it's not a requirement. Be your own bank. Hold and use money in spendable assets. Make sure you protect yourself. That's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to seeing you later and see you on the golden beaches of the world. Have a great night.